we gotta give a shout out to Zion Williamson. He might have turned the Pelicans season around completely. And maybe it's a little bit premature, but we gotta give credit where credit is due, give criticism where it's warranted, and give the praise when it's deserved. Now, if y'all didn't remember, Zion Williamson signed a 5-year, $197 million contract with the New Orleans Pelicans back in 2019, but due to a combination of weight issues, injuries, Zion missed a significant amount of games in his first 3 years as a Pelicans. And if you want to see the video where we talk more about this, click the top right corner over here. Now, we all know it hasn't been smooth sailing at all for Zion since he entered the NBA and signed his contract extension. Of course, there were the injuries, which we mentioned earlier, which sidelined him for about 40% of his NBA career up to that point. There were allegations and reports coming from the Pelicans saying that Zion refused to listen to their diet suggestions and help him lose weight. And to add the cherry on top of this shit cake, we had the previous ordeal with the mattress actress cyberstalking Zion after he cut her off from the Zion stripper fund. And then you had Stephen A. Smith jumping out of the window with some super disrespectful weight claims, essentially calling Zion a fat ass on national television, embarrassing him in front of all of America and in front of the world.
Zion Williamson, he looks fat. He looks fat. While LeBron James had dropped 30 in 3 quarters, and had completely dominated and looked in peak physical condition, Zion Williamson, who's more than 15 years younger, went to the free throw line. I saw a belly. When he took a deep breath, his belly bounced. That kind of belly.
Let's face it, NBA players going through personal issues on and off the court is nothing new, but generally, as long as they're able to perform come game time, teams and owners alike will generally turn a blind eye. But the multiple years of weight issues and the injuries must have been a final straw that broke the camel's back, because a report came out in December confirming that Zion's contract was no longer guaranteed as a result of him missing more than 22 games in the previous season. And of course, a lot of people, including myself, let him have it deservingly. But it's been over 2 months since then, and Zion and the New Orleans Pelicans as a whole have completely turned around his weight and the narrative since then. By the end of December, the New Orleans Pelicans were 7th in the West with a record of 19-14, but since then they've gone 26-13 and are currently sitting at 4th in the Western Conference. In the last 10 games, Zion has been averaging 24.7 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game, and 4.4 assists per game, which is exactly what you want to see out of your star player. And to add the cherry on top of this, it's reported that Zion Williamson has lost around 30 pounds in the last couple of months since those reported weight issues. Now, it's worth noting that even though his contract is no longer guaranteed, that there is a clause in his contract which allows him to earn back the guarantees by playing a certain amount of games in a season and hitting specific weight clause checkpoints throughout the season. So there is a possibility that if he stays consistent and meets all the contractual requirements, that Zion can still get that bag even though it's not fully guaranteed. But outside of the guarantees and the money, more than anything else, it must feel great for Zion to be playing at such a high level, being the primary force and reason for why the Pelicans are currently sitting at 4th in the West, and also being able to silence your loudest haters on top of that at the same time. Stephen A. Smith. Now, we do still have about a month before the regular season is over, and though the Pelicans have turned it around during the season, they still have quite a tall task come playoff time. As it stands now, being 4th in the Western Conference, the Pelicans would face off against the Los Angeles Clippers in the first round, and though the Clippers have lost a little bit of steam lately, in the playoffs, that's still a dangerous team that's about to get Russell Westbrook back. They still have a team full of veterans with deep playoff experience, including Kawhi Leonard, who's won multiple championships. So I would still have to take the Clippers to advance in a 7-game series, especially with all the pressure surrounding the James Harden trade. The Clippers are essentially a championship or bust team, so if they don't make a deep playoff run, there's a high possibility that that team is going to get blown up and a bunch of players might get traded. Even if the Pelicans were to slide to 5th or 6th in the West before the end of the season, I would still be a little bit worried if I was a Pelicans fan. As it stands right now, the play-in tournament in the Western Conference currently has the Mavs, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Warriors all playing against each other. And honestly, depending on where the Pelicans slide in the West, I wouldn't want to face any of these teams in the first round. I mean, even though the Mavs, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Warriors haven't been playing up to expectations, these are all teams that have superstar players and have a large amount of playoff and championship experience. In a 7-game series, you can't discount Steph Curry, you can't discount a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron. You can't discount Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, and you for sure can't discount the tandem of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. So I'm not going to say that Zion turning around his season isn't worth anything, because on a personal and a confidence level, to get back to playing the way he was playing in high school and at Duke is monumental. And if he continues like this, Zion could become the perennial all-star that we all thought he would be coming out of the NBA draft. But currently, I personally just don't see the Pelicans beating any of these teams come playoff time in a 7-game series, and I don't think they would beat the Clippers as well either. But you let me know what you guys think about Zion and about these Pelicans. Do you think Zion completely turned it around? And also, do you think the media should apologize, Stephen A. Smith? Or is the jury still out on whether or not he's completely turned this around? Also, Pelicans fans, I want to know your thoughts on the Pelicans making a deep playoff run. Do you think that it's possible for them to go far? Or do you think the West is just too damn stacked for such a young team to be able to make it that far? Comment your thoughts below and be sure to comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. And I'm out.